It is your boy, Professor G. Mark Gray. Thanks for hanging out with us. OG Sports Rap continues on the edge of March Madness starting. And I guess I am getting too old for myself because I can't find a printed bracket. I mean, you have to literally go somewhere to find a printed bracket these days. And maybe I haven't mastered the art of the digital process. There could be some struggles, but we will continue to move this thing along. I do have some. I'm not going to even say picks because I have no feel for the tournament. I can recognize good teams. I see where you know, if there was ever a tournament that I could see going chalk, you know, the favorite team winning, this might be the year. But we will give ourselves a shot by starting with tomorrow night's games, and they start at 6:40 Eastern Time, 3:40 out west with Howard at UMBC. I'm gonna roll with Howard in that game, so we're gonna say that Howard would advance in the Midwest region, okay, and how that's going to break down, I don't know. So I'm going to go and boldly pick on the NCAA's opening night that Howard knocks off UMBC. I think that's a rivalry game for the DC Baltimore basketball corridor amongst mid-major programs. I think I will put Howard and UMBC into the same class that I will put Miami of Ohio, the team that came off with that 29-game win streak. So if I'm going to do right, then I'll take the Bison in that contest. It should be a great game. And I think both those two teams are going to appreciate the fact that they get a chance to ball out. And you're going to get a great game, okay? So let's just get ready for that. All right. Also on Tuesday in the second game, you've got Texas taking on NC State. This ought to be a great matchup. There's something about the SEC that's a little bit better and a little bit stronger than the ACC is this year. And I like Texas front line. They play good defense. And, it's been a tough conference all year long. So I'm going to roll with Texas to advance in the West. All right. So I got Howard coming out of the Midwest, knocking off the UMBC to tip things off. And then Texas takes down North Carolina State because I don't think this was one of the stronger years for that conference, the NEC. All right. But here we go again. Lehigh, they're in the conference. I think that's Patriot League. I'm not sure, but they take on Prairie View. I like Lehigh big in that one. Lehigh's always, Lehigh's a borderline Ivy League school, but they're that school that seems to always have that one baller, like the McCollum kid who went to the NBA, and I think he was the one that shot down Virginia when they took down UVA when they were a number one seed. That being said, I think that the pedigree of that is a little bit better of that in Prairie View. So I'm gonna go with Lehigh over them, and then Miami takes on SMU, which is definitely the best of the first four matchups, and they give it to us on True TV. All the games are on True TV, okay? And you know something? This is probably the only time in the TV season that you want to make it a point to be at True TV. Now, I must be hanging on, must be working, but I don't go down like that. But in a matchup of SMU and Miami, that is a track meet versus a slow down offense. And there's a reason that Miami won 29 games in a row. And I think that maybe the first game in their conference tournament, the Mid-American tournament, was more like a banana peel than anything else. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take Miami in that. Now, I'm not giving any points. I'm just telling you how to play your bracket right now, okay? That's where we are with that. We'll record them and we will follow these along. So, given with that, and see, this is the messed up thing about these digital brackets because things don't really move like when you start wanting to play them. So, let's just give you some heads up. Florida's the number one seed in the South South region, and I got to go with Florida. They're not gonna, you know, uh, they're just they'll overwhelm whoever they play as a 16th seed. That's what I'm saying. All right then. Okay. So got Clemson and Iowa. That's a pick 'em matchup, but I think Iowa's coming off with momentum. I mean, a little bit of I mean, they're a big physical team. And I think they're a little bit stronger in the interior. I like Clemson's perimeter players, but I'm gonna go with the stronger conference and I'm gonna take Iowa in that one. Vanderbilt there's always a 12 who knocks off a 5 in the South region. I'm taking a really hard look at McNeese State versus Vanderbilt, but I like where Vandy is going into this tournament. They finished strong in the SEC 20, so I'm going to take that SEC pedigree, and I think there's going to be a theme developing here because I like the SEC a whole lot. I also like the Big Ten. So Nebraska, I'm sorry, Troy. It was a wonderful season, but I think Nebraska shows their A game. So that will set up a pretty delicious matchup between those two teams. UNC, down Caleb Lewis, if I'm not mistaken, taking on VCU. Very winnable matchup. Okay. If I was going to look for a first round potential upset, it would be Carolina, but Carolina's still strong. VCU looking to get over the hump. If that's a game, if you want to put some shekels on, I would probably go with Carolina and the points. Okay, but it's not, and if it gets more than 5 to 7 points, you back off. Okay, trust and believe because that game is not going to be a blowout. But I'm gonna try to give the ACC the benefit of the doubt. Virginia, the Commonwealth looks good in that spot. I just can't do it. I'm going with North Carolina, and I want to believe that the Big Ten is all of that. I've seen Illinois all season. I like how they play. I got Illinois. So in the second round in the South region, you at this point have Florida and Iowa, Vanderbilt, Nebraska. You got North Carolina and Illinois, and then coming out of the bottom portion of that region, you got Texas A&M and St. Mary's. St. Mary's a higher seed than Texas A&M, but I think SEC pedigree plays into this game, boys and girls. I'm taking Texas A&M. I'm going heavy with the big conferences, and then Houston at number 2 still playing in the race. So how about that for a round of 32 matchup? University of Houston, Big 12 school, Texas A&M from the SEC, and they from the same state. That's why we love the tournament. All right, let's go back up here to the Midwest, where you would expect that. Well, according to some people, they already have UMBC in at beating Howard. I don't buy that, but I think Michigan will advance whether they play UMBC or Howard. Just too big, just too strong. I think Luxembourg in that game is just too big for anybody. As we like to say, he's a beast. Interesting game in that Midwest region too. After Michigan and Howard, all right. Georgia takes on St. Mary's. Been an up and down kind of season for Georgia. St. Mary's has to travel a little bit. Conventional wisdom suggests that this is a trap game for Georgia. So what I'm going to do is take the Bulldogs and not get trapped. I think, again, conference pedigree. Now, if what the conference is telling you is that you got to have these quad 1 wins, well, Georgia faced more quad 1 teams than St. Mary's, so that's what I'm going to roll with. I'm going to take Texas Tech emphatically over Akron. I think it was a nice run for the Zips just to get there, but you got to show me, and I haven't seen nothing yet. I like Alabama. What a great matchup we could have in the Midwest Regional second round between Texas Tech and Alabama. That would be a 5-4 and much see TV. All right, quickly, Tennessee State. Well, excuse me, University of Tennessee. I like them coming out of the SEC. So I'm going to take Tennessee to advance. And then you got a quandary because Virginia could be vulnerable, but I think they're going to be angry about how they just missed out on the ACC tournament. That makes them a dangerous team, even beyond. They're a number 3 seed, so they're going to take out Wright State, in my opinion. All right. And Kent State takes on Santa Clara. I'm sorry. That is the University of Kentucky taking on Santa Clara. uh, UK's good. That's all I got to say. Nice run, Santa Clara, but barring a miracle of biblical proportion, I got to roll with an angry Kentucky team. Anyway, let's go to this matchup between Iowa and Iowa State and Tennessee State. You got to figure that Iowa State would be heavily favored in that game. I like them in that moment. So, congratulations to Tennessee State for doing their thing and winning in the match. All right, so you get a Sweet 16 matchup. I'm gonna roll with Kentucky in the round of 32. I'll put Virginia to upset Tennessee. That'll be a 3/6. I'm gonna take Alabama to move into the Sweet 16 where they'll face Michigan. So we got some really interesting matchups that I have already set up here leading up to my version of the Sweet 16. Now, I'm going to find a way, some way or another, to digitize my bracket, boys and girls, so you can check me out as we roll through this tournament together. Now, again, this is for entertainment purposes, boys and girls. I'm sharing it with you. All right, so we get the Florida-Iowa matchup. Man, that's going to be a great game. I saw for the first time in the Big Ten tournament that in the SEC tournament that Florida could be a little bit out physical, but I just think they're a better, more athletic team. So I like Florida's body of work, and I think that Vanderbilt is then going to knock off Nebraska. I'll take the number 5 over 4 in that 32 matchup to get to the Sweet 16. So in Sweet 16, we're going to have an all SEC matchup, boys and girls. That'll be Florida and Vanderbilt on my sheet. Then you've got Carolina taking on the Fighting Illini. This is where it comes to an end. Sorry, Carolina fan. I got to take Illinois to beat them. And I'm going to go with the University of Houston having enough to beat Texas A&M. So Big 12 will take out the SEC, and there'll be some things for people to talk about on the recruiting trail next year down in the great state of Texas. All right, Sweet 16 round. You got Florida and Vanderbilt. I like Florida to win that game, and I think I'm going to roll with this Vanderbilt crew to move first off, let me get it right. It'll be I'm going to take Illinois to beat North Carolina. Well, Illinois has beat North Carolina, so they're facing Houston. Hard to keep up with this. It really, really is. Anyway, I'm going to take Houston. So you get Houston and Florida, national championship rematch from a year ago. I'm going to roll with interesting tidbits. I think I will take Virginia to knock off Tennessee, but we got plenty of time to get to that as we move later on down the road, as we are indeed coming up against it. It's your boy, Professor G. Mark Gray, OG Sports Rap on Substack and the network. Remember, download the mobile app, Sports Rap Network, because we got.